So, hello everyone, and welcome again. Let me quickly check. I want to adjust a little bit the light intensity that I have here, because otherwise I'm a little bit overexposed. Let's- Okay, I think that seems to be better this way. So, hi everyone again, and welcome to another Saturday live stream. I think I'm still a little bit overexposed. I can. It's too dark. I think maybe I'm just going to leave it like this. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Hi everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to do a little bit of hardware. I would like to show you 7 mobile phone camera adapters for microscopes. And as a matter of fact, I've already got one connected over here. Yeah, demonstration effect. It's flickering a little bit. I don't know if you can see every now and then those lines. I don't know why it started doing that. That is simply a problem, a slight problem with the mobile phone or the connection. We just have to ignore that. It has been a request last week if I could not talk a little bit about connecting cameras to microscopes, and sure, but that's a big topic. So I thought I'm just going to show you all of my mobile phone adapters that I have. And then later on, maybe in the second part, we're just going to look at a couple of prepared microscope slides. And today I'll be using not my big, nice microscope, but I'm actually going to use the cheap one, an introductory microscope, and it actually also works quite well. For the first couple of minutes, I always say hello around the world. Hello, Vietnam, to Greece, Germany, Canada, Belgium, Wales. Yes, not so far away from where I am living. From northern France. Okay. And from Spain, Netherlands, Slovakia, United States, England, okay, Serbia, Netherlands, Poland, very nice. Okay, and Turkey, so very nice that so many of you like microscopy. Yes, I thank you very much. I did receive your email. I downloaded the pictures, if you don't, this is to ever smaller, and you made some stacks of some electronics, but I didn't get around yet including it into this live stream today. So maybe next week, if it's okay for you, because was setting up everything until the last minute. Okay, Los Angeles. Okay. And I just want to show you a little bit of what I've got here connected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the desk view, and I'm going to quickly show you, as far as I can do that, the microscope that I'm using. So it's an introductory microscope, and over here I've connected a pretty old mobile phone camera over USB, and that's basically the image that you've been just looking at. Okay, and I want to also show you a little bit some of the advantages and disadvantages of the different camera systems that I have. Okay, just also wanted to show you over here. Okay, if you click on here, then you should be able to see. Yeah, you should be able to see. Where is it? The image. Okay, here we go. I shifted the whole, unfortunately, the camera a little bit. So for this reason, okay, I'm just going to show this to you. Okay, here we go, right? So this is basically the image of the microscope, this is how it looks like, and basically over here is the eyepiece. Okay, so very briefly, if you want to take pictures using a mobile phone like this one over here through the eyepiece of a microscope, then you have that's a huge challenge, because it is very, very sensitive to the position. It has to be centered very precisely, and the distance has to be correct as well, and also the angle has to be correct. Otherwise, you're not getting a good image. So let's have a look. Basically, one x-axis, y-axis, 2 dimensions. The third dimension would be the distance. Fourth dimension is the tilt in the x-axis. yeah, the fifth dimension tilt in the x-axis, sixth dimension tilt in the y-axis. So you have to orient the camera over the eyepiece in six different, yeah, you have to adjust six different axes. Yeah, and that's very challenging, right? And for this reason, it's good to have an adapter that actually helps you to align the whole thing. And there are different approaches to do that. And I just want to show them to you. And some of the adapters that I have are pretty good, and some of them are, yeah, not so good, right? I just want to give you an overview here. Okay. So every now and then, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the comments. Because usually there are a lot of comments, and please, every time when you have a comment for me, please say at Microbehunter _ microscopy, because then I can actually see it. There's this red, basically the name appears in red in the chat, and then it's much easier for me to find it. Okay, otherwise I might actually skip over your comments, and yeah. Okay, so I just want to show you now some of the adapters that I have, and then we're going to just use this adapter that I have right now, and we're going to look at a couple of permanent slides. I've got a whole box here with all, yeah, I don't know, of 100 different specimens that I would like to go through with you. So let's go through the adapter over here that I have. Let me put this here away, and I'm going to also comment a little bit on what I consider good and maybe not so good about those. So this is basically, yeah, adapter by Swift, and over here you can of course put in the eyepiece. Yeah, so you see it basically it's able to fit precisely. However, this would not be stable enough. Let me quickly, yeah, this would not be stable enough. Yeah, so for this reason there is a little screw that you have to turn here, and this basically makes it very tight, and then basically, yeah, it's going to be fine, right? You see that over here it's precisely centered. However, with those systems over here is you have to adjust the distance, yeah, away from the eyepiece, and this means that you have to sometimes take it out a little bit, and then, yeah, turn it, and then you're going to see, well, unfortunately, yeah, if it's too far out, it's not going to hold, right? So always be aware a little bit that, yeah, when you connect the camera to the eyepiece, on one hand, the distance has to be correct, right? On the other hand, it's got to be sufficiently tight. And I've also had an adapter once, and it depends a little bit also on the eyepiece combination. I moved it all the way in, yeah, and the distance was still too large. Yeah, so this has to do something with the so-called the eye relief of the eyepiece. So you see that this is already a problem with some adapters that, yeah, even though it looks quite nice, I'm not able to fully adjust the distance. Yeah? So that is, and then you might have to get yourself a different eyepiece. So I generally recommend anyway that if you're using any of these mobile phone adapters, that you get yourself a separate eyepiece and line up everything first, and then if you want to use the camera and the mobile phone, you just basically exchange the eyepiece with the one that's already mounted. Yeah. Of course, you can insert this directly into the eyepiece of the microscope, or of course on the trinocular, yeah, on the photo tube. Yeah, and then over here, what we have here is we have over here a little yeah, thing that to clamp it on, and then it's kind of your task, yeah, to make sure that the camera, yeah, is completely aligned, yeah, with the center of the yeah, of the eyepiece here, right? And then you have to, yeah, tighten it, right? And then you can already see the first problem. Not a big problem, but in my case it would be a problem for live streaming, because look, if you turn it around here, you see actually the connector for the USB, yeah, it's covered up, yeah, by this thing over here. And for this is the reason why I'm not using this here, because I've got a pretty old mobile phone now being used as a camera, and therefore I need to always have it connected to the USB, and also have, of course, the image is being fed into the computer right now. So I'm not recording it on the camera, but it goes into the computer so I can do the live stream, and therefore I always need a USB connector. So this is a little bit the thing that I just want to make you aware. It's quite nice here, of course, also that you can connect a tripod here. Yeah, especially if you want to need additional stability, so that, for example, yeah, if you have got a small microscope and then it's too heavy and it might tip over, then you can add additional support here. Yeah? But otherwise, I'm quite happy with this one generally. I don't know if, honestly, you'd have to check a little bit. I don't know if they, I bought it several years ago, so I'm not quite sure whether they are still available or not. But I do remember darkly that this model came with two different sizes here for two different sizes eyepieces, and I got the one that actually fits this one over here. Yeah. So that's also something. I mean, look, if, for example, this one over here is a little bit smaller. If you put this one in here, yeah, then, and you turn it, close it all the way, it's still too loose. If this is the case, then what you have to do is you have to wrap some tape or some paper around it, and then it'll also work. Okay, yeah, so this is actually the eyepiece being too small, as long as it's not conical, as long as it's basically like a regular barrel, it's not a problem. Yeah? So you just wrap a little bit of paper or tape around it, and then that'll be fine. Yeah? So better is being a little bit too big than obviously too small. Yeah? So I'm quickly going through some of the comments here. Okay. And iPhone 14. Okay, I just read it. I've got also an adapter specifically made for an iPhone. I'm going to show this to you as well. Yeah. I need to. I suppose new phones have better cameras though. Okay, let me quickly. I'm reading this. Okay. So yeah. So generally, what about the image quality? Let me put the other. Let me put the other one in. No, before I do that, look here. Yeah. Here I can adjust the distance by turning this. This is a clamp. Yeah, and that's very solid. And then I can adjust the distance this way. So for this reason, I always recommend that you buy yourself a separate eyepiece, get everything adjusted, and keep the whole setup as it is. Slight disadvantage, if there is a little gap here, there might be the problem of stray light, but not a big thing, but I can also show you. Just let me put this in here. Okay, so it's back again. Let me turn off this here. I'm going to now switch over. And basically what you're seeing right now, look, that's now the camera view, the microscope view I turn on. Yeah, here, that's it. You see, it's not perfectly centered. So here we go again, right? And if I switch off the microscope, then you're actually able to see that there are reflections here. And because of this gap. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hold my hand now over the whole thing, and you can actually see that the reflections become less. So maybe a little bit of some cardboard might actually also do the trick. Yeah. So cardboard to block the light. Yeah, but generally not a big problem because the microscope light is so much brighter anyway. You might also see that the camera starts to refocus every now and then. I need to quickly and what I can do is I can actually switch over and I can lock the what do you call this? I can lock the I press. Yeah, and now basically I locked the focus and also the exposure. Yeah. So this is, by the way, this is a pine cone. Yeah. And there seems to be a little bit of dirt somewhere. Look at this. What is this here? Looks like a paramecium. That's not a paramecium. There seems to be some dirt on the lens now. Yeah. But unfortunately, But okay. Well, I'm just gonna ignore it. Yeah. So I'm using another 10 times objective, and actually, considering the fact that it's a cheap introductory microscope, the image quality is quite fine. Yeah. So that is. Let's move on to another one, because I just want to show you a couple of other adapters as well. Let's one of the earliest adapters that I have. That's an interesting one. And just the different concepts are really fascinating. Look at this here. It's old, very old. Let me turn off the light here. Okay, a very old mobile phone. Yeah, this is a very interesting concept. You see, you can actually detach it here. This is how it looks like. And this here is actually connected yeah, using a Velcro to a mobile phone case. So basically, there you could stick it on here, and yeah. So this here is connected over Velcro, right? And over here, this is the actual adapter. And look, how does this work? By turning this here, you can see that there are these three things coming out, and that's supposed to actually clamp. Let me show you here. Yeah, it's supposed to clamp the eyepiece in place. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm going to show you. Unfortunately, this is not entirely stable. And for this reason, you have to not only clamp it, but then you have to turn it around, and you have to use a screwdriver, and you have to tighten those three screws so that you can basically not turn it anymore, so that the eyepiece is clamped in place. I think I don't have to tell you that this is a very unstable solution, right? Yeah, I found this to be, even with the screws tightened, I found this to be quite, how do you say? Yeah, quite unstable. Yeah, I think one of the reasons is also that it is actually also designed for the eyepieces of a larger diameter, for telescope eyepieces. So that could also be a reason. And this eyepiece, for example, yeah, is so small that it might even slip through here. Yeah, so this is actually probably more designed for telescopes. Yeah, I've been using it a little bit, yeah, with my old mobile phone, but yeah, interesting concept in any case, yeah, but not, I would say, not the most stable configuration, because the whole system, not only here with the eyepiece, but also up here, is a little bit wobbly, yeah. Yeah, so that is, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so, but I just want to show them to you as an interesting concept. Yeah, and yeah, here we go again. You have to turn this here, and then it kind of closes, and then you have to tighten those screws here. Unfortunately, I also found out that yeah, I actually should have. I want to turn it a little bit more, but it's not possible because we're already at the maximum. Yeah, so that's a little bit also a little bit of a problem here. You can solve this issue by also wrapping around a little bit more paper or cardboard to make the diameter wider, and then I think it should also be okay. Yeah. So every now and then I'm reading again a couple of your comments. So far I did not see that there were many of them directed to me. Okay. Yeah, but it's fine if you guys, if you folks want to communicate directly over the chat. That's really nice to have so much expertise also in the community. Yeah, so yeah, let me quickly see. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. So basically, yeah. So I think some 3D printing things here. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. I still have a few. I still have a few adapters here that I really want to show you because they are really quite unique. I want to show you now the first adapter that I got, which I think is not made anymore. At least the company. I checked the company webpage, and yeah, look at this. This is a huge one. Okay. Look at this. This is, yeah. It's known as the so-called the skylight adapter. It's quite a nice instruction manual comes along with it. Okay, and not only that, there were also a whole bunch of rubber. How do you call this? Rubber pieces that you can wrap around the eyepiece to make sure that the diameter is correct. It works like this: that you have to wrap the eyepiece. Yeah, you have to wrap the eyepiece around, yeah, like this, yeah, and then until it's thick enough, and then you clamp it in here. There's a little, yeah, screw, and so it's clamped in place here, and then the whole system allows you to center the camera, yeah, by moving it like this, right? And the mobile phone goes up here on the top. Where did I put the phone? I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna take it out here. Yeah, so the mobile phone goes in here. It's supposed to be held in place like this. Yeah, and then you can adjust the center. You can adjust the center by moving it left and right and forward, backward. Okay, until the camera is until it's perfectly centered over the eyepiece. And the distance you have to adjust by moving the eyepiece in and out. Yeah, and the thing with is a nice idea, but a problem. It's not stable enough. Yeah. So what I have done in order to stabilize it more, after everything was kind of centered and everything adjusted, I used some sticky tape and I taped everything so that you cannot move it anymore. So that's the solution that I had. Otherwise, there's also the danger that if this goes apart, then of course the mobile phone falls down, right? Yeah, there's a question here. Oliver, off topic, had you attempted any diaphorization techniques, long-winded process using enzyme trypsin? No, I did not try it. Okay, but look, if anyone has any suggestions or any protocol on how to do these things, and if you want to share them with me, then please, yeah. But usually, if I have to work out a certain method, then it's quite time-consuming. Yeah. Okay. So I'm quickly checking again. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So again, because you're talking about 3D printers, I think 3D printers might actually be a solution here as well. Yeah. So, but that is basically this skylight system, and yeah, it's a little bit large. Yeah, and also maybe not the most stable solution. Okay, I'm gonna show you another one. And I'm gonna show you my favorite one then at the end. The next one is, usually I make review videos, but the next one I did not make a review video yet. This is the coolest one. This is scary looking. This is what I call over-engineered. Look at this guy here. Here's the eyepiece. This thing is heavy. Yeah, look at this. The mobile phone goes in here at the top. Okay, I have to, yeah. It goes like this. Yeah. Look, the people who designed this actually were thinking, because they actually made a little hole here so that you can put a cable in here. Yeah. Yeah, that's the Celestron one. That's correct. I show you the box. Just a second. I've got the box on the floor. This is that's the one here. It's a huge one. Yeah, and this one is truly truly over-engineered. How does this work? Essentially, you can clamp this one by pushing this lever here. Now you cannot push it, yeah, because there's a screw here that you have to, yeah, untighten, and then now you can essentially push it and you can release the eyepiece. Okay, yeah, so it also comes with those plastic collars to adjust the width, right? And then you clamp it in like this, yeah? And because of course this is not very stable, yeah, obviously. For this reason you basically tighten it by turning the screw here. And this really clamps it yeah, all the way in. Now, this one allows you to adjust. This one allows you to adjust the position of the camera in almost all dimensions. You've got over here like a, yeah, you can raise it and lower it. Okay, so that's number one. If it doesn't go close enough, right? Because maybe the distance is still too far away, then of course you have to move in the eyepiece like this. Yeah, that's not a big problem either. Yeah, so that's number one. Okay, and number two, look, the X and the Y axis can also be controlled. Yeah, over here by moving this here. Yeah, we're moving it left and right. Yeah, and this one over here. Yeah, you're moving it forward, backward. Okay, so this means it gives you the maximum control of the different axes, but it's a very I don't know, a huge one, and it's still and I just also want to show you, it's still, of course, there are some tolerances. That's to be expected, and for this reason there are somewhere tiny screws that you can actually tighten to lock everything in place. So once it's set up, yeah, the whole thing here is not wobbly anymore because you can tighten a few screws. I think the one over here, I don't know if you're able to see that. Yeah, so there are a couple of screws that yeah, you can. Yeah, however, I think, I don't know. This is a huge thing, and it's quite heavy. So you have to be a little bit aware if you put this into a microscope. I mean, there is a little bit of tension here then on the eyepiece. Yeah, so maybe on the photo tube, that would be a possibility, but it's most likely the whole setup here and the adapter is heavier than the actual mobile phone. Yeah? And then once everything's set up, then of course you can easily drop in the mobile phone, or and take it out again. Yeah, so that is essentially another one that we've got here. Yeah? So let me quickly go through the comments again here. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I'm just reading here. Yes. Okay. So that is the Celestron one. Also interesting idea, but probably, I don't know. There are, I would say, cheaper ones available as well. And if you just clamp everything tight, then it should also work. Yeah. So I would like to show you now my favorite one. And when I ordered that, I had to laugh a little bit because it's so, it's so, under quotation marks, how shall I say this? It's very German. Fully made of metal, zero tolerances, absolutely functional design. It's called the Digiklemme. It's a company that also makes basically they're selling telescopes, and yeah, that's basically the drawing. So it comes with different sizes adapters, and this is the most stable adapter that I've by far. It's not even close. Yeah? It's the most stable adapter that you can possibly imagine. The thing is the following. I use this also for with compact cameras. Yeah, of course you can also connect a how do you call this, a mobile phone holder. It did not come with a mobile phone holder, by the way. Yeah, so that's separate. But theoretically, you can also connect this. And then, of course, the eyepiece is clamped in here. Okay. Yeah, and the people who designed this actually really they really consider this because there's a rubber padding in here. Yeah, and when you clamp it closed, I mean, this is what I call German engineering. Yeah, it's if you tighten it, yeah, it's absolutely locked in place. Yeah, there is zero wobble, right? And the nice thing about this is that because this one, when I still use this camera here, because there's a zoom capability, that if you zoom in, then you do not see the image in a circle, but you actually see it full, right? So this is actually quite a nice one, but it's, I don't know, it's also large and clunky, but it's, yeah. And the reason why it doesn't move at all is because, of course, there are rubber paddings. Yeah, there's a rubber padding over here, rubber padding over here, yeah? And it doesn't even, not even the fraction of a millimeter. Yeah. So if you again, if everything is set up properly, right? Then yeah, I put this, for example, on my photo tube like that. Yeah. So then you basically it also works. And again, it's how do you say, a little bit yeah, it is bulky. Yeah. But it's by far, I would say, the most solid adapter. Yeah. Almost everything's made of metal. Yeah, even the spacer here is made of metal. The only thing that's plastic are those knobs here. Yeah, and that's pretty. And of course the rubber padding over here. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. So this one is called Digiklemme, and I think they have different versions of this. And it came along with a whole bunch of other, yeah, things as well. Yeah, for different size eyepieces. Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah. So this I've been using this here before I had the new microscope. I was actually using this quite a bit because this was the only one that allowed me to easily connect a compact camera. Yeah. So, and then, what time is it? Then last but not least, I want to show you one for an iPhone. For an iPhone, let me put everything away here. And that's unfortunately an expensive one. I made a review of this or a video, so if you check the links below, I made a couple of links to a couple of videos. This is how it looks like. Okay. And yeah, it's phone specific. So I used my wife's iPhone to test this. And this one actually is quite interesting, and the image quality is very good. Why do I talk about image quality? Because it includes optics. And I was actually thinking I also have a 3D printer. If I were to 3D print something, I would probably use this as a, how do I even open this? I would use this as a how do you say, as a sample, because I'm going, geez. Magnets. So this is how it looks like. Okay, let me take it out. It comes with a lot of other stuff. This is quite an interesting concept when you take it out. Okay, yeah, there are also a whole bunch of adapters and so on. But look at this here. Yeah, basically you can look at this. Yeah, you can connect. You get the idea, right? Yeah. You can connect different adapters here. Okay. And there is actually a lens in here, optics. And the interesting thing is, it's of course it fits exactly into the iPhone. Yeah. So there is no adjustment necessary, and look, this is what I kind of like. It kind of rests on both eyepieces. If you've got a binocular microscope, then actually it holds the mobile phone horizontally, because this one goes in one eyepiece and this one simply rests on the other one. So you can actually look at it, with like a real screen. I kind of like this concept because then you can actually use the iPhone also a little bit like a how do you say, like a display for the microscope. Yeah. Bioluminescent, yes, I tried a little bit, played around with bioluminescence. No, fluorescence, not bioluminescence. Okay, not bioluminescence, but I did experiment with fluorescence. Okay, so that's basically that's actually a nice idea, really. Kind of to have a system where you are able to hold this horizontally, but this also adds quite a bit of stability to the whole thing. However, I mean, the last time I checked, this was not a cheap adapter. Okay, so yeah, but it should be easy to 3D print. The optics itself. It's also interesting why this was included, but I guess the reason is so that you actually get a full field of view. So this is quite an interesting concept as well. And what you have here, of course, is you have different diameter adapters for different microscope types. Because, for example, stereo microscopes, they have a 30 millimeter diameter and so on. So quite an interesting idea here. Okay, so let's put this again away. Look at all the stuff that it came along with, even cleaning cloth. Yeah. But again, this is one of the more expensive adapters, and iPhone specific. Here you actually see the picture how it looks like. So it's pretty very stable system here. So let me have a look at some of the comments here. Okay. Ever smaller, just checked. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for checking. 251 pounds. Pooh, yeah. I mean, for that money, you get a new microscope. Yeah, but I think on the webpage, I mean, I think it's also used maybe in the biomedical sector, and therefore, I mean, they've got the money, right? So There is a cheap version for 129 pounds, apparently still overpriced. I'd rather get the Celestron one for 1/4 the price. Yep. Okay. Injection molding is more consistent, has more consistent tolerances. Okay. Yep. Phone screens too small. How about software to get the phone image on a computer monitor? That's what I'm doing, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there are software. You have to install a program on the computer in Windows, for example, and you have to install a program, an app on the mobile phone. And then you're able to get the image into the computer. Usually to get the image into the computer, sometimes you can use Wi-Fi. I do not want to do that because the transmission is slower and also a little bit more unstable. And right now I'm using a USB connection. And I don't know, I'm a little bit, this dirt on the lens disturbs me. Just a second. I need to get something to clean away. I need to find it where it is. Cotton swabs usually do the trick. Up. We see if this is on the. I don't know. Let me see. Let me change the magnification. No, it's still on here. I'm kind of worried that this might be a little bit on the. I don't know where this is. See, it doesn't turn when I turn the. So this basically means it must be somewhere. It must turn along with it. I'm going to take this out. Let me see if this works now or not. It's still there. We just have to ignore this, I guess. Yeah. So, what was I just saying? Yeah, here we go. Here we go again. Yeah. So let's try a larger magnification. I need to You see, it always the phone always goes into standby, which is of course not so cool. Let me check. Because I locked the exposure, so that the. Here we go. No. Why does it not? Okay, here we go. Okay, I have to. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, I have to basically lock the exposure. But you see that actually even with the cheap optics of this microscope, yeah, yeah, it's trying to refocus again. So I have to do again a focus and exposure lock. Yeah. Even though with the cheap optics and without a condenser of this microscope, we're actually able already to see quite a lot. Yeah. So. I'm just reading this here. Yeah, it looks like a paramecium what we've got there, but it's not. It seems to be some kind of, I don't know, a little bit of some dirt here. So what I would like to do is the following: is I would like to simply. I'm going to just switch back to the 10 times. See, it's overexposed, so I have to go again, adjust the exposure here, and then fix it again. Yeah. And we're just going to, I thought we're just going to have a look at a few of the specimens that I've got here. I just want to show you the whole slide box as well. Yeah, so that's the slide box. Yeah, it's a commercially prepared slide box containing all sorts of different objects, plant and animal, and we can have a look at a few of these. So I'll just basically pull out a few of them randomly. And the thing is the following, that some specimens, like for example those insect specimens here, have very dark and very bright areas, and this basically means that we have a dynamic range issue, and so that's why I like to check this a little bit. Okay, whether the camera is also able to capture the dynamic range. Yeah, having said that, there is one advantage that those cameras have, and that is the mobile phone cameras, that yeah, you're getting a very wide field of view. Okay, so that's one advantage, and the other advantage is you can actually record a video. Now you're going to say, what? But of course you might be also able to record video using USB cameras, of course. But the problem is that usually they are much slower, and therefore you don't get the frame rate. But if you're recording a video directly into the mobile phone, then you're actually getting the maximum frame rate as well. Yeah? So let me just show you what I can do. If I pinch and zoom, and then I can actually fill out the whole screen. Okay. So let's have a look at another one here. And this is now basically, the mouth parts of a honeybee. And usually they are difficult, those insects, because as you can see, they have very dark areas and very bright areas, like over here. Yeah, so this is a dynamic range issue. Yeah. But I would still say that honestly, microscopy's gone a long way. Really, I mean, considering the fact that this microscope was around €100, it's an introductory microscope also for children, but still, I'm quite surprised, by the image quality that you're getting, So, so this is over here. Yeah, of course, where it's too dark, it's very difficult to see. Yeah. Can you please show the box the German adapter came in? I've made one very similar, but not as clean as the one. Thank you. Yes. It's called Digi-Klemme. You have to. I have not found it on Amazon, but there was this. How do you say? German astronomy shop, and I think they're selling different versions of it. It just came like this. That's how it looks like, and it simply has both all of the parts mounted, so they're usually, you don't use it like that, obviously, right? You only need one of the clamps, but they're for two different eyepiece sizes, and you can kind of configure it as you want. So that's kind of how it looks like. Maybe you can get a screenshot, or something. The video is recorded, right? So if you want to see it, how do you call this? It's over here. That's the name. Digi-Klemme. Klemme in German means clamp, so it's a digital clamp. And if you Google for that, I think you should be able to find it. It's a M, KLEMM. It's a little bit sloppy. MME. So that's that's it. There's nothing, no branding or anything. So so that's basically the mouth parts of a honeybee. So I'm quite still quite I mean, look, honestly, the quality of these slides is not the very best. As you can see, quite a bit of dirt. We just ignore that. So, more light. Let's have a look. You see, this is I'm currently running the whole thing on batteries, right? So let's see if I'm able to push more light. No, not possible. But what I can try to do is I can try to actually change the exposure. Okay. So let's see if I'm able to do that. Let me see. Okay, just a second. Where is this? So here we go. I'm going to try to go to automatic exposure. Here we go. Okay, I think I'm just going to leave on the automatic exposure, even if this means refocusing. Now basically the camera always adjusts the exposure. And another thing that I just want to show you here, and that's actually quite a nice demonstration. This microscope has no condenser, and it has no Köhler illumination. So you see that on the corner, right on the bottom. Where is this? On the other end here, right here on the corner, you see that it's kind of white. So that's that's stray light. Okay, that's a stray light, and that's always generally an issue. With cheaper microscopes. But over here it's better. So let's. I think I'm just gonna pull out a couple of random slides here. I don't know what's fish scales. Yeah, so these are fish scales. Oh, they're not very interesting. It is just red. Here on the side, maybe something slight. No, those fish scales. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, they're made of what? Protein. Probably not even very many cells. Maybe not even cellular in nature. I think that's pretty boring, this one. I think I'm gonna go for another one. I'm really gonna go random now because what is this here? Pine stem. Oh, stems, plant stems usually are quite nice. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, notice how the camera is always refocusing a little bit. Let's go up now with the magnification a little bit. This paramecium thing on the side. Refocus. Yeah, and here we go. I think I'm quite happy. Honestly, this is a really cheap cheap microscope. Yeah, it's you to have a little bit of fun with microscopes and so on. You don't need a lot, huh? And so this is not a 40 times. It's actually the maximum magnification that I'm able to get here. If I refocus again, then you see then the camera itself will also try to attempt to find the focus. Yeah. So let me quickly have a look. Yeah, there are a couple of comments here. What would you like to show under the microscope on your channel that we haven't seen on your channel before? I'm asking you that. Okay. Usually, I mean, I've been counting now. I've been making these live streams now for what, a couple of years now. So I think there might be I don't know, a few hundred episodes already. Of course, sooner or later everything's going to be a little bit repetitive. But please, if you have any suggestions, yeah, please feel free to make comments. So, for example, the fact that I'm going through now, I've showed you my mobile phone adapters. This was because it was a request to show some hardware again, because the previous weeks I've been mostly doing a lot of specimen preparation. So I would like to include a little bit of variation as well. Yeah. Usually when recording videos with a phone, you don't have the full control over the recording settings, aperture, shutter speed, etc. Yes and no. I'm using a program called Open Camera. And Open Camera does give you a little bit more control. So for example, with Open Camera, I also have manual control over the focus. So but it's correct that the standard cameras, camera apps that come with the phone actually don't give you a lot of control. But that's why I'm using Open Camera as well, and with that I do have slightly more control. Even manual focus, it's possible. There's a slider, and I can focus then manually, and so it's yeah. So is this the Telmoscope? No, it's not. This one actually is also not made anymore. It's a Swift SS110, and I also this one is actually also several years old already. The Swift SS110, and if you Google for it in this in my main channel, in the other microscopy channel called Microbehunter, I actually also presented this microscope once. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's the thing here. Yeah. But by the way, this is of course a stained specimen as well. Oh, I forgot now to actually include an arrow. It would have been nice so that I can use a pointer. Yeah, similar to the Telmo in construction. Yes, I just want to say the following. Those microscopes are all very, very similar. And I think some of them are so similar that I even think that they're made in the same factory in China, because the parts are so similar. However, at the Telmo microscope is a little bit different to this one over here, because the Telmo microscope does have smaller optics. So I think the optics here are slightly better. I can actually show you where is the the desk view over here. I'm just gonna flip it over. So that's the microscope here. Yeah, the one that I'm Here we go. And these are not standard optics. Okay, they are actually quite a bit smaller. Yeah. However, there are also small microscopes like this that have slightly larger optics, and sometimes you don't actually see this very well from the pictures. Yeah. But if I just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take this one here out, so that you can actually have a little comparison. Yeah. Here, look, it's actually fairly small, but it's made fully of aluminum. Yeah. So. And I mean, when I was at university many years ago, I mean, these microscopes did not exist. Yeah, so quite a lot has happened over the last several years. Yeah, these are not RMS. These are not RMS. Okay, RMS is from the Royal Microscopical Society. Yeah, they are the optics are way smaller. Yeah, and also the diameter. Unfortunately, I don't have a shoot. I don't have other optics here with me right now, unfortunately. But these are not standard optics. Yeah, these are not standard optics. So it's also not possible to get replacements for those. Would also probably not be really worth it, because the whole microscope is so cheap in any case. Yeah. Yeah. However, I think I darkly remember I think they might be still interchangeable with the Telmu microscope. It appears almost like that those smaller optics are again yet another standard on their own. Yeah. Yeah. You could put some different smartphone screens under the microscope the next live stream, maybe under the stereo microscope, and look at the different. Oh yeah, that's a possibility. Okay. Smartphone screens have different pixels. So let's do the following. Let's go again back to this one over here. And thank you again. But I think I might have already answered most questions. Every time, I'm getting again a summary of your questions. Here they are. I'm going to look at them a little bit later, but I do want to have a look at a few more of these things here. Again, I'm pulling them randomly. What? What does it say here? Testicle of a fish? Really? Okay. I don't think that I have even seen this yet. What is this here? This is nothing. Yeah, here. Okay. No, that's that's a histological specimen. See, it kind of always refocuses. See, that is, those tiny dots that you see, they seem to be, there seems to be some kind of a stain. They've stained the nuclei of the cells. Yeah. So that's a histological. So this is very annoying that it kind of, But if I don't focus, then it also, does not adjust the focus. Yeah. Again, this is without condenser. Yeah. Without anything like that. Yeah. So still quite nice. Yeah. So the screenshot only tells me about your site. Can you print by hand that makes the item, please? The screen only tells me about your site. Can you print by hand the name of the company that makes that? You mean the I forgot. You mean the item that made the Digiklemme? You mean this is a question to Bob. Because I'm a little bit confused now. Do you mean the name of the company? Gee, I have to be honest with you. It was actually a retailer for telescope equipment. Yeah, exactly. Digiklemme, that is the name of the how they're branding it. But it's not really a separate company. It was, I think, more like a retailer for telescopes and microscopes, and basically were offering this Digiklemme simply as an add-on for the customers. Yeah. So okay, you got it. Fine. Yeah. Um, yeah, I have not checked their webpage for some time now, right? Yeah, but it's called DigiClaim exactly. Yeah, and to my knowledge, they had different versions of that, a smaller and a larger one. Yeah, so you might have to check this as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to do another one. Again a random pick. What is this? Nostock commune. Ooh. Okay. Let's see if nothing. I don't see anything here. Huh. Is there nothing on here, or maybe I have a yeah? Ah, my purple amoeba love eating nostoc. But I can't find him. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit no, it's in focus. Or maybe too small. I don't know. Yeah. They gorge themselves. Purple. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe yeah. I'll have a look at a different slide. What's this here? What does it say here? Lily pollen. Well, the pollen shouldn't be a problem to find. Yeah, but you see, that's always usually a thing. The quality sometimes is very different. Yeah, here that's some pollen. Let's go up. Here we go. Yeah, this is also stained. Ah, I lost it here. Here we go. Yeah. And you see, that's a little bit one of the things that I've always find a little bit pitiful that a pity that I'd like to have a little bit more information about those slides. What the preparation technique, how it was stained, the mounting medium, and so on. And all of this information is really not included. So I have a proposal. I already mentioned this before. Of course, you might not be able to get all of the info on a microscope slide, but at least you can put on a QR code or something like that, which connects you then to maybe a web page which gives you all of the information. That would be actually a wish. That they would do. Yeah, now we've got a whole box of slides. At least we know what it is, but very little info on the type of preparation it was done. Yeah? It basically says lily pollen over here. I mean, I don't know if you're asking me now. So this here is a basic pollen of a lily, which is a plant, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. So. I recently got an antique slide that has a thin slice of a human skull. I'm trying to build an entire human slice by slice. As a matter of fact, I don't have the time and the equipment to do that. But maybe it's a little bit on my bucket list. I'd like to actually take an earthworm. Yeah, a small worm, prepare it and then kind of slice it up, and then take pictures of every slice and then kind of fly through the worm. You know, I don't know if how to explain this, but kind of then have a movie a little bit to see the different organs of the worm, because a worm is nice and long. And it's basically, but you need a microtome for that. You need to properly embed it and so on. But it's possible to kind of slice objects up, but that's a lot of work. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of work. Yeah, so I think I'm the winner of the live stream. 3 questions and none of them were answered. Did you actually say that you have a question by including at Microbehunter or at Oliver at the beginning? Because otherwise I'm going to overlook. The very easily the questions. Yeah. So that is the thing. But I do have a few questions over here. right? So we can have a look at some of them. Ah, have you watched the video of Iosoma? Do you agree with me that the image in the case is better than oblique in the? Yes, I did. I did watch it. Thank you. You sent me a picture. Um, the um, the thing is I got yeah. You know what? I'll try to share all of the pictures next week. I did get the picture Ilosoma. That's also one of the worms that I put under the microscope last time. And in oblique illumination, it gives you an image which appears similar to DIC. Yeah. Yeah, depending on a little bit on the contrast and on the lighting, they can look quite good as well. So what I'm going to do now, what I have to check the time a little bit. Well, it's yeah, I've been talking now about 1 hour, but let me quickly see. Let me check. Okay. The question. I'll wait a little bit more longer with the questions because there are not that many. Yeah? Let's have a look at a few more slides. What is this here? Again, honeybee, a leg of a honeybee in this case. It's again a little bit too big. This is the leg of, and let's see if there are also the claws included. Here they are. Yeah. And we go up. Okay. Yeah. So this is I want to microphotograph text and put an entire human genome on a single slide. Also a full movie script, maybe the B movie. I will tell you what's possible. Indeed, there is actually somebody a few years ago sent me actually a silicone chip with a whole book on it to put under the microscope. Unfortunately, I think there was this company that was selling. I don't know. You could buy all of the religious texts like the Bible and so on a tiny silicone chip. And he said, I got this. It was sent to me, but unfortunately, the writing is so small that you can also not see it. With under a microscope, you need an electron microscope, and it should be possible to actually put very tiny text and pictures on a slide, because this is actually what they have done back in the 19th century. What they have done is they've taken photographic film. And they were making tiny pictures on photographic film, and then they put the photographic film on a microscope slide, so you could actually look at pictures and read text and so on under the microscope. That's something that's been a little bit forgotten these days, but that is that's also an interesting thing. And I know that there are some antique slides that can be bought that actually have that, tiny pictures and text and so on. Yeah, so let's go here. Yeah, could that paramecium and the quotation marks on the right be a little insect wing? I don't think so, because that would be too small. Okay, insect wings are way larger. That would be indeed. I think this is some kind of I don't know. Looks almost like a little bit of a drop of liquid that has dried up. Yeah. The company just done the entire Bible. The guys who made. Okay, okay, good. Yeah. It's microfiche. Yes. I mean, when I was much younger, I used to develop on black-white film and black-white pictures. So I had my home. In the bathroom, I set up a home dark room for developing pictures, I think that would be indeed a possibility. One could somehow project. I was actually also thinking about using a printer to print text on overhead foil, but I'm not quite sure if the resolution of the printer would be high enough. Yeah, so that's something that one could try out, and then you have kind of, you either using inkjet or some kind of a laser printer to print it on overhead foil, and then use the overhead foil and put that under the microscope. Yeah, it's like microfiche or microfilm. Yeah. So Yeah, what else? Yeah. Yeah, printer resolution would be far. I don't know if you've got 1200 dpi. That's not going to be enough. Yeah. So what else do I have here? Just leaf of ligustrum. It's a leaf, a plant leaf. With something, just a second. Here we go. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's of course, when I see that, I almost feel like doing a biology lesson. It's actually something that my students have to know, the cross-section of a leaf. Yeah. This is just a second. I don't know if I'm able to do that. Let's see. Just a second. The scope view. Let me quickly see if I can do that. If I can copy the arrow. Yes, I can copy the arrow. Okay. Yeah, good. Now I have an arrow. Yeah. So just looking at this here, of course, biology teacher. This here is the top side of the leaf. You see that the cells here are arranged very regularly, called the palisade layer. Down here you've got the air spaces. Yeah, that's the spongy layer. Yeah? So that's the top side of the leaf, and that's the bottom side of the leaf. I'm quite happy actually with this. Yeah, the image quality with this mobile phone is quite okay. Yeah, it's focusing again. Yeah. So high resolution laser comes close. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, usually high resolution. I think if you use, honestly, I don't even know if you can still buy this stuff, these films. But I know that the company, I think Ilford, used to say once sold a very low sensitivity black-white film. I think ASA 25, very low for very sharp images. Maybe that would be possible to then basically store text on it. Yeah? How do we identify xylem from cross sections from the top view? From the side, it's easy since it looks like a spiral. Oh, that's difficult. You have to look for the vascular bundles. And then usually the xylem, usually the xylem has thicker walls. Yeah. And I'm not even sure if we have it here maybe. And usually the xylem, I don't want to say anything wrong here. That's a vascular bundle. And usually they're scattered around. Usually the larger cells that you see here are xylem, and the smaller ones are phloem. And the xylem tissues also usually has a slightly thicker walls because they're also responsible for structure and strength. Yeah. But here I wouldn't know it in detail which one's the xylem and the phloem. Seen from the side, they have the spirals. Yeah. So Kodak Technical Pan is the highest resolution. Yeah. Okay. The Thought Emporium YouTube channel. Yeah. There's another comment here. Oh, that's an interesting one. I won't be. There's a question over here. Can you share your opinion about the ELN LIMS applications? Honestly, I don't know them. I have to, but thank you for recommending them. I will read into that. It's interesting, yeah, and then I can tell you my opinion. But there's always one thing that is really important. I mean, if I've not tried the applications myself, and if you only know about them just from reading, then usually the opinions are not that, how do you say, not always they're very valid, right? So I can only kind of, I have not tried those apps, so I cannot talk about them from my own personal experience. Let's put it this way, yeah. Yeah. So I'm reading again here. I watched everything I could. So those darker, more red ones are more likely the xylem. Usually, honestly, I'd have to read a little bit into the plant anatomy and different plants. The arrangement looks different. Yeah. But generally, as a general rule of thumb, very often the larger vessels and larger diameter with a thicker wall are very often the xylem. Yeah. Yeah. So let's have another look. I don't know, random pick one here. Mosquito wing. Here we go. Those mosquito wings are, I think, just recently, I think I've seen just a day or two ago on Reddit, in a Microscopy Reddit. Somebody also posted a very nice picture of a mosquito wing. But honestly, those slides, I'll be honest with you, the slides that I've made myself look nicer because they are so dirty. Yeah, it's really incredible. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, they didn't cost much, okay, but makes more sense than taking a photo of text, producing the film, and then taking a photo of the film. What you can try to do is actually, if you are really interested in that, if you could project, because actually I have done that as well, long time ago, because I had to make I think for universities, a slideshow using PowerPoint foils. And what I think I darkly remember what I've done is I've simply taken a picture of my computer screen on film. And this looked pretty good, actually. Yeah, I made the whole room dark, and then I set up a tripod. I took pictures of the computer screen. So so maybe that would also be a possibility of getting text on film. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So you see a little bit also the problem that we have with those mobile phones, that they have a mind of their own in the sense that they want to focus, yeah, and so that means you have to always make sure that you can somehow manually stop the focusing. Let me quickly look, yeah. So that's the full field of view. And generally, when you have a camera set up using a USB camera, very often you only take a picture of the central part here. Yeah. Yeah. And with a mobile phone, you're getting the full field of view. And this also means, however, that if the optics are not very good, then you might actually see that here on the side. If they're not plan optics, and on the side, it's a little bit fuzzier. Right, because plan optics are sharp all the way through, and on the side, the cheaper optics are a little bit fuzzy. Yeah? So let's have a look at another one. Just to locate the dirt, what you do is you have to turn the whole thing. Yeah, and I'm turning it now, so you see that everything that also turns, it must be either in the optics or somewhere in the light path. And if it does not turn, then it most likely is somewhere on. Let me do it like this. Let me try to do the following. I will not turn it. Yeah. I'm not. It's on the lens. Yeah, it's on the lens. Yeah, this weird thing. You know what I'm gonna try? I'm just gonna give it a try. Just a second. I've got a bottle of just plain alcohol here. Let's see if it's on the. Let me try to clean this. Yeah. Oh, look, it's getting better. I could have tried this earlier. Here we go. Gone it is. Okay. Yeah. So I used, that's what I used. Okay. Yeah, I've basically done the following. I just show you what I have done. Yeah. Look, yeah, you can actually see now. Basically, I went directly on the surface of the eyepiece. Yeah, you know what it could have been. Even I don't know. It could be because this also happens sometimes when I talk. You spit and saliva, and then it lands on the eyepiece, and then it dries up, and that could have been it. Yeah. So, but at least we got that weird paramecium type of looking thing out of the way. Let's look at a few more, and then let's go quickly through some of the questions, hoping that I will have them answered. No, but this is also one. a housefly again. What is this here? I don't know what that is, and I don't see anything on here. Flower. Some kind of flower. Oh, it's also very dark. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's a typical dynamic range issue. You see over here on the side is of course overexposed because the central part is so dark. So the camera adjusts its exposure and turns up the exposure, and then some parts are overexposed. Here, okay. Now we're able to see the cellular structure a little bit. Here we go. Yeah. So I'm reading I use a CO2 cartridge to blow things out using a nozzle. Meant as a bike pump, works great and far better than compressed air cans. Yeah, yeah, that's possible. However, what I just heard, what you should not be using, because they're selling those CO2, pure CO2 might be fine, but they're selling apparently those cans that are used to blow dust away from computer parts and electronics. And what I read somewhere, you should not be using those because they contain some kind of a substance that might actually deposit on the optical surfaces, right? Because it's this liquid in there. But if it's pure CO2, then it of course completely evaporates, and there's nothing that can actually deposit. Yeah. Yeah, the propellant. Yep. So that is the thing. But if it's pure CO2, unless I don't know. Does it when you actually use CO2? Does it actually cool down very much? Because if it's freezing cold, I don't know. Then maybe this causes some tensions in the glass. I don't know. You see that's not a that's a typical case of stray light. Yeah. So you know what? Last one. Let's have a look at the last one, and then let's have a look at a few of the questions. Female mosquito mouth parts. Okay. Let's go down here. We have to find it again. That was weird now. Why did my lamp go up in intensity? My desk lamp. Okay. See? I can't find it. Is this it? No, come on, not really. No, this can't be it. Ah, here's some. What? Over here, maybe. It looks more like it. This is also look. I cannot move the slide over because I'm already bumping into the edge here. That's the female mouth part. Honestly, I think it's the first time that I'm actually seeing this. This is pretty sad. Okay, no, that's not a very good specimen. You want to have a little. You want to have at least part of the head here so that you actually know. It seems to be also broken off a little bit here. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically the mouth parts where it's sucking the blood. Yeah, but no, not very good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the cartridge becomes frosty within about 5 to 10 seconds. It's a special grip handle, so it doesn't. Well, okay, I don't mind if the cartridge becomes cold. That's not so. Yeah. As long as it doesn't cause any icing on the optical surfaces, I think that should be fine. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what I'm gonna do now is I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of the questions that you might have. Okay, I can actually also show you the questions, or we can leave the mouth parts there. No, you know what? I'm just gonna show you the questions here. Okay. Maybe I've already answered some of them. Yeah, I got your email. Thank you. Is there a possibility of 3D printing this device? So basically any of these holders. Generally, I think there should be a possibility, but sometimes you see, the question that I'm having is the following: is I don't, because this is made of metal here. I don't know if the 3D printed plastic is always strong enough. So I think it depends a little bit on the mechanical parts, whether, yeah, if you have to clamp them together or if you print them out as one part. Yeah. So that's, I think, the thing. The other question that I have is because with those adapters, I'm able to adjust and I'm able to center it. If I 3D print something and something's a little bit off, then I don't, and it's made of one part, then I might not be able to adjust it quite as easily. But I've not tried it yet. But yeah, it's yeah, certainly a possibility to try it out. Stereoscopic imaging, that's also a possibility. Okay. Yeah, so let's have a look here, a few more questions. I suppose newer phones have better cameras though. Oh, and I'm sure Microbehunter will mention this, but newer iPhones have more lenses, so perhaps the setup would be even tighter. That's possible. Yeah. Generally, I have to say the following. It's a little bit ironic. I've got a stereo microscope here, of course, and I've tried to connect, and I connected cameras, of course, USB cameras and HDMI cameras to some of those stereo. I've got several stereo microscopes, and to some of those I've connected them, and I found out the following: that in some cases the image quality over the stereo microscope's phototube was much worse than taking a mobile phone camera and taking a picture directly through the eyepiece. I was kind of wondering, how can this be, right? And then I took the camera from the photo tube and I put it also on the eyepiece, and then the image quality was also much better. And then I figured out the reason why. Because inside the microscope there are so many optical elements, mirrors and everything. They have degraded the image quality so much that actually I got a significantly better image quality by using a mobile phone through the eyepiece than over the photo tube. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this that cameras, even though they are important, I found the bottleneck actually to be not the cameras in most cases, but the optical systems of the microscope. Yeah, so that's also something that I just want to make you aware of. Yeah. So generally with a mobile phone, the image, it's a wobbly situation and it's not always very stable, but generally the image quality is pretty okay. Yeah. You could demo out a hole for the connector port. That's actually a possibility. Yeah. This one over here, yeah, I could actually, I mean, that's plastic. Yeah. So yeah, maybe drill a hole in here. Yeah. And to have a connector then, yeah, go through here. What's the most chaotic or unexpected thing you've ever happen under a microscope that made you go, wait, did that just happen? Yeah, actually, I did find a Lacrimaria is this one protozoan that has this long, extensible neck. And if you actually watch this hunting around for other cells, this guy's pretty cruel hunter. I've seen it basically suck up a cell that was almost much larger than itself. Yeah, it punctured and swallowed it up. It was pretty dramatic. Yeah, I could not. It was a very big coincidence. Yeah. Seeing a cell eat another cell. Yeah? Phone screens are too small. Maybe mention software. Then can, yeah, that's what I'm using right now. There are free camera apps that you can use to actually connect a mobile phone to the computer. Yeah, and that's what I'm actually doing. Or have been doing right now here. Yeah? Off topic. Had you attempted? Yeah, nope. I have not tried that, as I mentioned already. Have you ever looked at no, I have not. Bioluminescence, life not. Bioluminescence are those organisms that start to glow on their own, right? They have a chemical reaction that produces light. Yeah, but yeah, dinoflagellates, I think, are able to do that. Yeah. Have you experimented with remotely launching your phone camera, for example, via USB and computer software, or using a button on your headphone cable? The thing is the following. Currently, not, I wouldn't say launching it, but it is possible to start to configure it in such a way that when you start the computer and the mobile phone, that it will connect automatically, just like a webcam. So that is possible. Essentially the software starts on both the camera and on the computer. With a mobile phone, however, there is the thing, and that's how it's different from a regular webcam. Of course, you have to switch it on. Yeah. By the way, I just want to show you something else. It just came into my mind. Something that I have tried out. Just a second. I've got this here. This is also a camera, and on the swan neck, yeah. And over here you can connect USB, yeah. No, not over here. We're here in the back. You can connect a USB, and what's possible as well. I've also tried. This has manual focus. That's nice. That's actually a camera for taking pictures of documents and so on. I used this camera before I had the current setup. Yeah. However, you can also try to put this here over the how do you say over the eyepiece, yeah, like this. Yeah, I've tried it. However, the field of view is not. The circle is a little bit smaller. Yeah, but this gives you a direct and more stable focus, because the focus is manual. Yeah. But that's also something that I tried out. So it's called the Hue, Hue, and it's basically just a USB camera on this one neck. Yeah, you can actually detach it here. There's also a USB connector over here. Yeah. So that's also a possibility, but it's a little bit. You need to set it up every time, yeah, because of course it's flexible. Yeah. Yeah. So very quickly, anything else here? I need to where am I? Have you experimented remotely launching or check out the DrawLab Dwarf 3 smart telescope? Okay, thank you for the recommendation. The DrawLab Dwarf 3. Interesting. Okay, never heard of it. I will have a look. Yeah. What would you like to show under the microscope that we haven't seen on your channel before? Honestly, you please make suggestions. And it's no, it's not the Telmoscope, but it's similar to it. Yeah. And have you watched my video on? Yes, I did watch that. I already talked about that. Yeah. So let me quickly. DwarfLab Dwarf 3. Okay, thank you. Let me have a look here. If there are any other comments, otherwise I'm going to call it a day today. Okay. Yep. Project. Okay. Regular scope. So no questions. I hope I didn't overlook. Have a full DIC prism set. I plan to design my own custom scope. Actually, maybe this reminds me of something. Actually, what I've made a couple of years ago, I made a microscope out of Lego. It's just a tube. I used regular optics. It also actually works. Yeah. Of course, there is no proper focusing. I have to just move the eyepiece in and out a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, it was a very fun project. Yeah. The whole thing made out of Lego. Yeah. So I think it's a CO2 cartridge. Yeah, I'm just scrolling up here. Yeah, ELN applications. I have to get more info about that. Yeah, I hope I answered pretty much everything here. Yeah. So I recently got an antique slide. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. I would say the following. I think I'm just going to slowly call it a day again. So it's been again 1.5 hours. Yeah, I just wanted to. Maybe next week. Maybe next week, I'm thinking about maybe I can show you some of the equipment that I have of connecting a DSLR. Some adapters there. You might have seen already some of those. Some of them you might not have seen yet. So I'm going to give you an overview here. Generally, as a general recommendation, because I'm getting a lot of comments and emails about connecting cameras and so on, there is probably not one single best way. Right, it's a little bit of trial and error is involved. I found out, a combination of 3D printing I've tried in the past as well. I've been through so many things. I've bought commercial adapters which worked well on one microscope and pretty badly on another one. Interestingly, kind of shows as well that the adapters kind of also have to fit together a little bit with the optics. So of the microscope. So you see, there is not one size fits all. Right, I would say that's a little bit part of the hobby as well, that we're just playing around a little bit and experimenting. And I remember, I did not show that to you, my very first digital camera that I connected was actually a webcam. It was a 640 by 480 webcam that I basically put into a plastic box, and connected directly to a microscope, and then used the optics to directly project the image onto the sensor. So I had a lot of empty magnification. It was very suboptimal, but it kind of worked, right? And then I also used an analog camera for an analog camera for surveillance camera, that was, right? So I've in the past played around a lot, and I encourage you that you also do that, okay? And share your ideas and your thoughts and pictures, So I'm going to call it a day again. I wish you, I'm quickly reading the remaining comments. Otherwise, I wish you all the best. Have a nice weekend again. And happy microbe hunting, and hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.